Near the end of summer, my wife and I decided to take one last camping trip before the weather started getting cold again. Back in college, I used to go camping constantly with friends, and I still had all my old gear stored in the garage. There was one hidden spot we always used to visit, not an official campground, just a secluded clearing we'd stumbled across years earlier. I thought it would be the perfect place to bring my wife. When we arrived, we noticed an old fire pit and scattered trash left behind, so clearly other people had discovered the spot too. Still, we didn't think much of it. We pitched our tent, started a fire, and spent hours sitting beneath the trees talking and drinking. Everything felt perfect. Then around 2 a.m., we heard the sound of a chainsaw roaring somewhere in the distance. At least, that's what it sounded like. The engine revved loudly through the woods. At first I figured someone was cutting down a tree, but that made absolutely no sense this late at night. Then we heard laughing. Not normal laughter. Wild, manic screaming laughter. Every hair on my body stood up. We quickly put out the fire and climbed inside the tent. The noise still sounded pretty far away, so we tried convincing ourselves we were safe. I kept a machete beside me just in case, although the thought of actually using it terrified me. Over the next several minutes, the chainsaw noises seemed to move closer and closer through the woods. Then suddenly, everything stopped. Complete silence. About 30 minutes passed without another sound, and eventually we convinced ourselves it was over. Thanks to the alcohol earlier that night, we somehow managed to fall asleep. I don't know how much time passed before I woke up again. At first I didn't understand what had disturbed me. She whispered that we should make a run for the car, but I told her to wait. Moonlight illuminated the tent walls just enough for me to see them. 3 shadows. 3 men standing outside our tent. I didn't tell my wife what I saw because I knew she'd panic. Instead, I tightened my grip around the machete lying beside me while staring at the silhouettes through the fabric. The shadows just stood there, watching us. Every second felt endless. Finally, after what was probably only a minute or two, the figures slowly walked away. I whispered to my wife that we needed to leave immediately. We abandoned everything. The moment I unzipped the tent, we sprinted full speed toward the car. I've never been more grateful for remote start in my life. The engine turned over just as we jumped inside. I slammed on the gas and tore out of there without looking back. Only after we reached the highway did I tell my wife about the shadows I'd seen on the tent wall. She was furious I hadn't told her sooner. We spent the rest of the night in a motel. The next morning, we returned to the campsite with police officers. Every single piece of our camping gear was gone. The tent. The coolers. The chairs. Even our clothes. Not one thing had been left behind. To this day, I still don't know what really happened that night. Part of me thinks we accidentally camped on someone else's private land and those men were trying to scare us away. But another part of me believes we escaped something far worse.